Hello, and welcome back to Spectrum Talk with Ruby, a podcast where I explore the people, perspectives, and powerful stories shaping our cultural landscape. I'm your host, Ruby Jones, and today I'm honored to feature two distinguished guests from the acclaimed stage production, The Hot Wing King, playing in Denver at the Denver Center for the Performing Arts Killstrom Theater from April 25th to May 25th. Joining me today is Tobias A. Young, who delivers a compelling performance as Big Charles, and Timothy Douglas, the esteemed director whose vision brings depth and resonance to this award-winning play. Together, we'll discuss the creative process behind the production, the themes it explores around identity, love, and masculinity, and the broader impact of Black narratives in American theater. Stay tuned. This is a conversation you won't want to miss. I'm super excited about it because I've been seeing advertising for it for several months now, and I would love to know, what is the storyline of The Hot Wing King?
Hot Wing King by Katori Hall won the Pulitzer Prize for Drama in 2023. Cordell Crutchfield is in the belief that he has the perfect groundbreaking recipe for this Hot Wing King contest that's coming up. And he and three of his closest friends gather for the weekend to prepare for this competition. In that interaction with cooking and preparing, what emerges is the bond between these Black queer men, the strong bond that's there, and with a little plot twist that's interjected by way of Dwayne, Cordell's partner's nephew, we also lean further into and discover new and expansive ways of what family means and how challenges in relationships can be navigated, both with heart, spirit, food, fun, and new lessons that were not expected at all during this encounter in the kitchen.
Nice. Well, I see why that's a Pulitzer Prize winner because, immediately you're telling me about these amazing themes that are really deep and really important to several communities. Before we get to those themes, though, Tobias, hello, and I would love to hear more about your character in The Hot Wing King.
Yeah, so Big Charles, I like to say that he is the friend that everybody loves to go to for advice. He is the barber shop, and as we all know, people have really close relationships with their beauticians, with their barber shops. So, my character in the show is the person that is close with both Dwayne and Cordell. And he's a fun guy. I'm having a blast playing him. And as Tim was saying, earlier, it would really do a disservice to the show to just say that the show is just about, chicken wings. This show covers, grief. It shows, it talks about loss. You see the dynamics between, father and son. It really is a beautifully written play altogether.
Nice. Well, again, I'll echo what I said to Timothy. Those themes sound super important. Now, Timothy, as the director of the show, how is the process when it comes to preparing and rehearsing? How are you able to evoke these very deeply rooted emotions, I guess, to follow some of these themes in your creative process?
Casting is key. And, for whatever reason, divine intervention and a little bit of experience, I have gathered one of the most empathetic, forward-leaning, life-loving, staring challenges right in the eye group of actors who get along famously. That's the key. That family was created within the first half of the day of the first rehearsal. It was clear that on a soul level, and if you believe in such things on a past life level, these folks have communed before. And so the willingness for each individual, each actor, in their creativity, how much they're willing to reveal who they are as people through the work, through the story that we're telling. And again, I lucked out with a cast who is very generous in that area. They are becoming friends. they are bonding in real life. So the acting part, the part of trying to make the stories that we're telling feel and look true, it's not an effort in any way. And in fact, this group is bringing even new light to an already successful play.
Well, Timothy, I see you nodding over there, and you just said that you love playing the character that you're playing, Big Charles. How does it feel from the cast member side of things, addressing some of these really important issues? And how do you dig deep to really bring some of these messages to the community?
It's always important in the beginning stage of any rehearsal process to kind of set the standard for or create a space for all of the actors to feel really, really safe. And that's the one thing that DCPA and our director Timothy has really done for us. So, in the beginning, you don't really just jump directly into the work. You kind of take time to get to know each other, to kind of dissect the characters. And I think within all of those discussions that we had, that really allowed us to get to know each other a lot quicker than you normally would when you just meet a stranger. And that's the reason why, this rehearsal process, I honestly think I can speak for the entire cast, it never feels like we're rehearsing. It's busy work. We know that we're working. There's a lot going on, but we're having a hell of a time doing it. Even in the scenes where, things are very serious and, the conversations are really tough, it is still a great time. And I have to say that really is because of the work that's done in the early stages before we start actually putting things up on its feet. It's super, super important.
Gotcha. Okay, that sounds really good. It sounds like you're preparing. So I guess
Yes,
you better
yes,
prepare to come
yes.
and support this show. Now, it's going to be playing at the Killstrom Theater from April 25th to May 25th. And one of the things that I love about the Killstrom Theater is that it feels so warm and just close and inviting because of the way the stage is set up. When it comes to that really, really close, direct space with the audience, what do you think that audience members will walk away thinking and feeling after this production?
I never presumed to know that, but one thing that this production, because of its particular needs, in the round, everyone will feel like they're sitting in that kitchen with these cast of characters. And also on stage, as a part of the action of the play, is a simulation of the actual cooking of these wings. And so everyone relates to food, food prep, love of food, and certainly the infectious nature of how the characters are so deeply invested in the task that they're undertaking. So, if nothing else, the sensorial feeling of having, like always, what's that truism? No matter where I serve my guests, they always love my kitchen best. Everyone ends up in the kitchen. And so you have an entire play, an entire production where the audience actually gets to sit on that stool in the corner in the kitchen and take it all in. And so whatever that evokes in terms of family, in terms of comfort, that's what I hope for the audience to take away. But, what they actually think, feel, I don't know.
It
We do what we
sounds like
can.
we'll feel hungry,
Well, I
Timothy.
Yes.
I
Goodness.
I trust that, to Tobias's point, we are having such a fulfilling and good time, and if that continues, there's no way the audience can resist that.
Yeah.
I see. I see. Well, it sounds like there are some really heavy kind of dramatic themes. Is this a drama production, or a dramatic production, or is it comedy, or is it a great hybrid of both?
I
You
would definitely say it's a hybrid of both, without a doubt. Without a doubt. You are going to leave feeling a gambit of emotions. And to me, I feel like those are the best type of experiences to have. And I think that is the one perk about the show being in the round. I enjoy from the actor's perspective, witnessing audiences feeling very uncomfortable in the moment. And then eventually they kind of settle into that being uncomfortableness and really start engaging more and more and more and more. So this is definitely a show that will run you through the mill of emotions without a doubt.
Well, I have a question about that, and I guess the question is for both of you. You did mention that it is a production that does have themes regarding the Black queer community. And when it comes to that kind of uncomfortable in the moment feeling, and then easing into it and really relaxing into what's going on in the production, do you feel like this play or this production has anything to do with diversity and inclusion and bringing people together and opening minds to maybe adopting more positive outlooks on that togetherness and that inclusivity?
Yeah, I definitely think that, I don't want to give anything away, but I will definitely say that there is definitely a storyline that takes place within the show that I firmly believe that will have people leaving the audience willing to start engaging in conversations with other family members that they might not have been comfortable having before, or at least allowing themselves to be more open to hearing the conversations, or uh requiring them to maybe look a little bit more inward and how they respond to things within their own families. And that's another reason why the show is so beautiful. I'm telling you, people are going to come to the show thinking that it's going to be just about chicken, and they're not going to realize the huge impact that they're going to walk away with. And I think that's the most spectacular thing about it.
I'll add that because the entire play takes place in the home of Cordell and Dwayne, that there's a sort of guard down comfort uh, um, that radiates among the characters in the play. And so I would venture to guess that the majority of the Denver Center audience does not have access to this kind of intimacy, specifically of Black queer men, in all of their elements, beyond what we see in the popular media when, there's a certain amount of performance, and I'm specifically referencing Drag Race because that's from in my circles, it seems most of the non-queer community, that's sort of their most identifiable look at queer Black life. So, at core in this production, because we're in a home and people are relating to one another in a very intimate and comfortable way, right there. Just a whole other insight into this community who, and at that level, I'm talking, we're just being people, but there's a particular face on it, and people have preconceived ideas about how people who look like that behave. And here, the confrontation is just the simple realness of care on a human level, and then whatever thoughts, identifications that people carry, they will put that on it and walk away with whatever they walk away with. But just seeing people being people.
That is such an important point, Timothy. Wow.
Yeah,
Re-
particularly, especially in the familial, I won't give too much away, but there's a major family plot challenge that you get to watch get worked through. And again, it happens to be this queer Black community, but at core, everyone who has a heart will see themselves going through that journey with us.
No matter how they identify. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's such a wonderful point. I think about historically how even introducing Black people to film and television and allowing us to be in these roles, it really opened up a new understanding of the Black community, maybe not the most um, realistic at all times, because a lot of those roles on television, like you said, you only see this character on screen, and you don't really get that closeness and that intimacy of being in someone's home and seeing how they relate to each other, seeing how the rest of the world may relate to them, or how they relate to the rest of the world. I think that evokes a huge level of intimacy. So you've made me very excited about seeing it.
And,
Wonderful.
and I just want to say, I mean, I sort of, in my last description, leaned into the universality of it all, and that's definitely there, but it is specifically Black and queer, and and it's what makes the journey so tasty.
Yeah. I love that we are not, it is a very Black experience. We're not shying away from being Black. We're not shying away from how we talk, how we engage with each other. I love the authenticity of being able to be fully and 100% our authentic selves within this show. 100%.
Nice. Well, like I said, I am looking forward to seeing it. Now, are either of you or both of you from Denver at all?
No, I'm from Maryland, so I'm right outside of the Washington, D.C. area.
Though I
Okay.
used to live here, I worked for the Denver Center 30 years ago when they had a conservatory, and I had moved my life here and intended to put down serious roots. I could not get adjusted to the altitude, and I lasted a year and I had to go, but I always enjoyed coming to visit and coming to work.
Wow. Well, do you have plenty of oxygen cans? You
I've
can't
I-
get
I've
excited
learned,
about the production. You have to just chill in the
yeah.
background, let them do what they're gonna do.
No, I've learned how to pace myself, though it still surprises me. I'll be, talking to the cast about a particular point, and I find myself running out of air before I get to the end of the sentence, and that's not an issue for me usually. But other than that, I'm doing
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And where are you from originally, Timothy?
From New York, but make my home in Chicago now.
Oh, okay, great. So both of you have those East Coast roots. And I think,
Yes.
I honestly love speaking to people who are in the performing arts who are from the East Coast because I feel like you get this just really broad experience being there. There's so many people from so many different walks of life. I feel like Colorado is becoming more diverse. There's so many more people living here than what lived here 30 years ago, Timothy. But I'm always glad to see that your perspectives are being shared with our community. That's great. Well, fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing it again, the Killstrom Theater from April 25th to May 25th. I guess my final question would be, what is your favorite part, without giving anything away, of this production?
I would say my favorite part, without giving anything away, is there is a party that is going to take place on stage that I am starting to realize is probably going to be the highlight of my night every single night. And I cannot wait for everyone to see it because it's going to be a good time.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes.
I don't know if it's directly related to well, it is, but so far my favorite part is Tobias, among his many talents, is also a quintessential host and cook, and gifted this ensemble the most extraordinary, delicious meal on Sunday night post rehearsal at the end of the week, and we got to just gather and commune very much in the way that these characters do in the play, but we actually got to do it. And that is ends up actually being part of rehearsal and talk about feeding right back in. So far, that's been my favorite part of rehearsal.
Thanks, Tim.
Oh, I feel like I needed an invite, even though you didn't know me yet. We could have done this
Next time I
interview
got
at
you
dinner.
covered. I got you covered.
Well, it was absolutely wonderful meeting both of you gentlemen. I cannot wait to see the show. And I just wish you the best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Of course.